Hi Taurus, Sun, Moon, Ascendant, or Venus. This is Dane, and I'm going to be doing your December 2021 full moon reading for you. Now I ask if this reading resonates with you, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you're interested in any of the cards that I'm using, they will all be listed and linked in the description box below. Now before we begin this reading, let us clear the energy space, raising our own energy vibration and releasing any negativity. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. Releasing all negativity from the body like storm clouds, letting yourself feel calm, centered, and at peace as we enter into this safe and loving space. Let's see what the tarot has to say. How will Taurus be affected by the December 2021 full moon? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Ooh. 3? Okay. Guide this reading and show me clearly, angels and spirit guides. Fantastic. So at the bottom is our rooted self. The left-hand side is our inner self. The middle, our heart, our emotional self. The right-hand side, the public arena, the public self. So let's see what the cards have to say. At our root, we have the Fool. We have Temperance, which is Sagittarius energy. And we have the Death card, which is Scorpio energy. So if we have Sagittarius or Scorpio in our natal chart, they're going to be coming through very strongly as a root part of our personality during this time. In our inner self, we have the 9 of Coins, the 9 of Pentacles, the 6 of Swords, and the 3 of Cups. In our emotional self, we have the 3 of Cups again, the 6 of Cups, and the 10 of Swords. Then we have our public arena self. We have the 5 of Cups, and we have the 10 of Swords. Very interesting. This is going to be an intense moon, no lie. You know, it's going to be more intense than I had initially thought it would be. This is a very positive moon, and we're seeing a lot of transformation here, which is, okay, because this moon is so positive and because of the intensity of it, we're going to really be using this time to springboard forward, which is going to be something that's very good for us. But it's also going to be clearing out a lot of toxic negativity within us, a lot of things that have been holding us back, a lot of things that we've been holding on to, and this moon is going to be really quite intense. So let's see the energy we need to be mindful of during this time. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. This is strength. This is Leo energy. We need to be mindful of brute force. We need to be mindful of thinking I can fix it by just forcing it. This is going to be a time of needing to connect emotionally, needing to connect to the heart of the matter, to the heart of things. That's going to be really important. We're going to have a tendency to look at people who have this physicality to them, who have this brute force strength to them, or have this way of just like making it happen. It can be in business, it can be, in their home lives, where it's like, I said it's going to happen, this is how it's going to be, no discussion, it will just happen just like this because I said so. This kind of totalitarian energy around them. And we're going to think that's the way that I should be. But I mean, Taurus, we're ruled by Venus. Oh, and that's one of the reasons why this moon is a bit more intense. Venus pops up just kind of intensely, kind of makes us look at things differently. So here, there's very much going to be this sense of, I need to embrace this power. I need to embrace the power of the heart. And that could be a different way than other people go during this time, but it's going to be the way that we need to embrace this time for us. It moves us to our chakra energy. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. And this is clarity. This is the third eye chakra. Our third eye is opening in a way that is clear, that is decisive, that is powerful, that is having us see things differently than the way that we've seen it before. And that's going to be very much what this moon brings to the table for us. Now let's start talking about this moon astrologically, because there's a lot that's going on. We'll see how it all correlates to the tarot. We'll see how, it enhances us, the challenges that it brings. So we have the full moon in Gemini. If we're born on the cusp with Gemini, or we have Gemini coming up profoundly within our natal chart or in our chart, this is going to be something that hits us rather hard. And it says here, the answers you need are coming. And that's going to be really good because we've been working out a lot. And this is a time where we have a lot of questions. We've been seeking answers. We've been seeking things more openly, more honestly for ourselves, the way that we can move forward, what it is that we desire. So on the 18th of December, with the full moon in Gemini, the answers we need are coming. And this is one of the best ways to end 2021 is with this full moon in Gemini, because it is very lucky and therefore it makes us very lucky. This is because of the strong energy of Jupiter that comes into play during this time. And as Jupiter comes into play, we see with Temperance here, with Sagittarius energy, that enhances the Jupiter energy. So it's really balancing everything out. Our Venus energy, the fact that we're ruled by Venus and bring that sensitivity of the heart forward, that's going to be something that we need to just recognize and honor. But also the power of Jupiter is going to really help us during this time. It plays a very strong role. We will have to be mindful because it won't be completely smooth sailing, more so maybe for us than for others, Taurus. And that's not to, make us afraid. It's just to give us a heads up and say, I need to be emotionally aware of things because I am stepping into this power. Now, the sun is opposite the moon, which is how every full moon begins. It's like it's once upon a time story. The sun opposite the moon, and this energy lasts for 2 weeks after the full moon. It's really quite intense for those 2 weeks, and it can last longer depending on how moon sensitive we are and how much this impacts us. Now, this always brings our close relationships into focus. We're also very aware of the different directions that we're being pulled in, like our wants and our needs and other people's wants and needs and work and home and things that we want to do for ourselves, hobbies and, ways of expressing ourselves that we want to embrace, and our time constraints and everything like that really starts to come forward during this time. And we have to be very open and honest with ourselves on what's draining us and what we need to set aside time for. Emotions and intuition reach a peak during the full moon. Our increased emotional strength and our intuition helps us to see where we really need to be focusing on, or what we really need to be focusing on, where we really want to be heading. It helps us to overcome challenges, and that's going to be where we see, for some reason, I don't know why it is, we're going to be very drawn to people who just kind of like force things to happen. We can be reading about them or inspired about them on, YouTube or, TikTok or whatever we're on, and think, wow, that's the way to go. And what Spirit is saying here is like, no, it's the heart that's really going to matter more. And that's what we're seeing during this moon, with the emotional intuition, with the emotional understanding really growing during this time and really guiding us forward. It's also a significant end of a cycle, the full moon, and we need to let things go at the end of this moon. Like, as we're embracing this moon, it's having us put the spotlight on ourselves, on our lives, and it's saying, what do I need to let go? What do I need to release? So that when we start the next cycle, when the new moon happens, I believe on the 1st or the 2nd of January, I believe it's the 2nd, we're going to find that the darkness, the quiet, the introspection, it really gives us insight and ideas on the way to move forward. Now, during this during this full moon, we also have the last hours of the North Lunar Node in Gemini. Gemini is represented by Mercury. We have the full moon in Gemini, right? So this energy during this full moon with the Mercury influence, we're actually going to find that Mercury is in Capricorn, which makes the energy of the North Lunar Node in Gemini much more rational and much more grounded. So this means that we will be able to perceive and articulate and achieve what it is that we really want and set up goals for ourselves and set up ways for ourselves to to move forward in 2022 to the place that we want to be, to the place that we really, need to be for ourselves as we begin, this new year, as we move to beginning this new year. And this new year is, of course, the angel number 222, the time of new beginnings. Now, what's also going to happen is this emphasizes what we need to achieve, what we want to achieve, what it is that we desire within our hearts, within our souls, within ourselves. The full moon is going to be in discord with Neptune, which is interesting because Neptune is our spiritual understanding and it's our sixth sense that really comes forward. It's our beliefs, it's our hopes, it's our dreams, it's what we want. And Neptune will have us looking at things from our higher spiritual understanding, but also for our higher spiritual understanding. We'll start to look at the world, and it's almost like we're looking down at the world and trying to figure it out. It's kind of going to feel like a foreign planet or, a strange country that we're going to, and we're trying to figure out how we can incorporate our dreams and our hearts and what we desire and things that are super important to us during this time into the waking world, into the waking reality of it all. And we can actually find the world to be just a bit harsh, a bit abrasive. It's kind of like rubbing sandpaper against your skin. So I'm just getting that distinct, feeling, or it's getting, it's being out in the cold and getting a bit of, frostbite or, chapped skin and stuff like that. It's just going to be irritating and itchy. So just be aware. I'm just seeing that here as we're looking at our dreams, as we're looking at achieving our reality and how that brings us into the waking world and how the two don't always compute. During this time, we have Lilith, which is the black moon, is in Gemini. This makes it so that we believe something that isn't true, which is going to be interesting. There's something here where it's like, I have this feeling, or, somebody told me this, or like, I've heard it through the grapevine type of thing. And we have to make sure that we verify what we're being told. We have to make sure that we look at the facts of things, not just say, oh, this is what I think it should be. And there's just going to be this strong drive to go off of a falsehood. So just make sure that we're verifying things as we move forward. This will calm down around the 20th, of December, because that's when the influence of the black moon, things start to clear up. The influence of the black moon isn't quite as strong. Now the full moon is trine Jupiter, and Jupiter is an astoundingly positive planet. So this brings positivity, it brings good luck, it brings wealth, it brings abundance and happiness. We will have the ability to grow spiritually, personally, the way that we want to. And it brings health, it brings, it makes us healthier, it makes us happier, it makes us wiser as we're growing in this direction, as we're opening up the doors. We don't feel as alone with this alignment, with this time. It's kind of like I feel more connected than I have before, or than I have in quite a long time, because it's easier for us to share our feelings. We are also going to find greater rewards in our relationships and through socializing. There we go. We will be open and honest with our goals and what we are looking for and what we want from our lives, which will benefit us personally and business-wise, with our relationships, with the doors that are opening to us. We just need to be mindful of sharing too much with people of lower energy vibration who are less developed. And they are going to see this almost as a weakness. It's kind of like, well, look at your good mood, look at how much you're relying on other people, you're vulnerable, you're weak, I'm going to strike, I'm going to sabotage, I'm going to talk about you behind your back, I'm going to cheat my way to the top. So just be mindful of that. Now, this is also a wonderful moon for the holidays because it helps us to spread goodwill and generosity, which is really quite nice. Now, the full moon quincus Venus is going to be important because, again, we're ruled by Venus Taurus. So Venus goes into retrograde about 6 hours after the full moon on the 19th of December. This makes things tricky, but what is wonderful about this time is that the energy of Jupiter, which is one of the most positive planets, is a lot stronger than the energy of Venus, than the alignment of the full moon quincus Venus, or, the moon quincus Pluto. So that's going to really balance things out. The strength of Jupiter. The full moon quincus Venus increases our need for love and affection. Things will become tricky if we feel our relationships aren't balanced, causing us either to feel like we're being taken advantage of or like we're being smothered. So just be mindful here. We need to really say what we want, and we need to express our hearts in a way that is maybe a lot more articulate than we're used to. We have this tendency to think, well, if they really loved me, they would know. That's ridiculous. It really is ridiculous. We have to say what it is that we want. We have to say what it is that we need. We can have the most empathic person can understand that we're mad and maybe think, oh, well, they're mad about this thing and not what we're truly mad about, because we don't always have the same reference of reality, the same way that we see things as other people do. And also we weren't raised the same way. We don't have the same triggers that other people do. Even people raised in the same house will have different triggers, will have different things that annoy them or overwhelm them or that they need to talk about. So just being aware of that is going to be really important. This is also a time to act, but it's not a time to act. This is a time to step back rather than acting instantaneously and look at our hearts, look at what we desire from our love, from what we want. We have to say, how do I love myself? Am I putting myself, in the right place? Am I okay with things that are going on, or am I not? And why? Even if we're not in romantic relationships, even if we're not talking about romance at all, or romantic relationships are just fine, but we have to look at it work-wise. We have to look at it socially. We have to look at it with the relationship that we have with ourselves, with our family, with our friends, with our coworkers. How is it that we are connecting? And are we honoring our emotional selves? And if we're not, why? The full moon quincus Pluto, this alignment can increase our imbalance in our relationship. It can also make things really real, and it can make us really real. It's almost like, it has to be just like this. And it takes us right out of the energy of the full moon in discord with Neptune, this sense of I need to look at my dreams, I need to look at what I desire. The full moon quincus Pluto is saying, look at what's right here, right now, or else, you won't be able to get to where it is that we want to be. We need to share our feelings with somebody that we trust during this time, a friend, a family member, a therapist, a spiritual advisor. This is the way that we can avoid a crisis that is building up within us, because there's almost a sense of like the world becomes too real. That's the sense of sandpaper that I'm seeing for us, Taurus. If we don't respect our hearts, if we don't take time for our emotions, it's just going to be like, why am I always being betrayed? Or why does the hurt always, come for me? Like, why is it so much harder for me than it is for other people? So just be aware of that. Venus is going to be conjunct Pluto. Now this makes us in love with the idea of being in love. We will want to, increase love and affection in our lives, but we need to make sure that it's love that we're being, absolutely engulfed in, and not lust, because it would be really easy for us just to be carried away in the lust of it, in the idea of what we think the love of it should be, and not what the love actually is. So just be mindful of this. Now, let's look at the fixed stars. We start off with the fixed star Betelgeuse, which is located in the constellation of Orion. Now, this brings mental honor, promotion of self, and promotion of what we desire. It also brings wealth. It will reveal immense strength, and the question is, how will we use this strength? How will we move forward in this strength? And I do apologize if you can hear my nephew throwing a bit of a fit. This is also known as a workaholic star. It can really make us focus on, absolutely diving into everything. We don't want to do anything in halves. We're either all in or we're not in at all. The alignment with the moon during this time makes this a swift-moving, swift-minded, time that we align. We're strong-willed, we're a bit rebellious, we're going to be a bit restless, we're going to feel like, if somebody's trying to control us, we're going to feel like we have to rebel against that energy. We don't like authority figures. We want to kind of move and flow and discover and become on our own. And this can bring great power, great honor, and great wealth. There's something that's going to click during this time, and it's like, that's me. That's what I want. That's what I need. And we don't want to be restrained in any sort of way. It's very big for us, Taurus. The constellation of Orion brings us strength and dignity It brings us self-confidence, and it also brings a bit of inconsistency. It can bring arrogance and violence, impatience, but there's also a sense of success in trade, especially when it's done overseas. So it's going to be interesting to balance all that energy. We never want to promote violence within ourselves or arrogance, but there is the sense of, I just have to honor. I have to honor who I am. If I get frustrated, I need to step back. I need to step into myself, and that's going to be really important for us to embrace our hearts. Now, we also have the fixed star Polaris, which is located in the constellation of Ursa Minor. Now, this is not as positive as Betelgeuse, so just be mindful of that. This star can cause sickness, it can cause trouble, it can cause loss of fortune and disgrace. So none of those are good things at all. There's also legal and inheritance issues that can come up because the star is just, it can bring out the evil in things. Not that's harsh, but yeah, I mean, it can bring out the discord in things. And what it is the star is the guide of what we need to look at and what we need to fix. So it will bring up the discord and say, we need to fix this. And so it comes forward. So we say to ourselves, wow, this can't go on that way. So just be aware of this. Astrologically speaking, the bears, so Ursa Major and Ursa Minor, were said to be an evil influence, especially in regard to nations and to kings. So what we're really seeing here is that things cannot be settled, nationwide. Like, our rulers can be having a bit of, our rulers, well, yeah, the people in power can be having a bit of trouble, with things. And I actually see this star influencing them, and then it trickling down to us. So just be very mindful of this. So Polaris may have a bigger effect, again, on nations than it does on the individual. It can have a bigger effect on people who, want to be in power and want to rule and want to be followed than it will on the people who saying, let me live my individual life and kind of like stay out of my business type of deal. So just be aware of that. And we're really going to want to be in our own business, embracing our own selves as we move forward. We have the Fool here. We want to be on our own journey. We want to develop how we are and what we want, and we want to walk a new path and embrace a new road and just awaken and become and see so much more than we have seen before, so much more than we thought we could be before. This is a time of a new adventure. This is a time of a new journey. And it's a time of bringing that Sagittarius energy forward, that good luck of Jupiter forward, and finding the balance in our lives between the subconscious and the conscious, between what we desire and who we are, where we need to be. There's also a sense of our angels balancing us, harmonizing us, helping us to achieve. Now, the Death card here, Scorpio energy, is of course ruled by Pluto. So when Pluto comes into play, everything is just enhanced during this time for us, Taurus. So when Pluto is quincus, the full moon, when Venus is conjunct Pluto, that energy gets amplified. So it increases our imbalance in our relationships, it increases our desire for love, and it can also increase our sense of lust being really valuable because we're going to mistaken it for love. It's kind of like taking off the rose-colored glasses and saying what's truly here. The Death card is also showing us transforming, evolving, having a greater understanding of the way that we need to move forward for ourselves and what it is that we desire. The Death card is the dying away of the old self, the rebirth of the new. And we're going to see ourselves rise like a phoenix from the ashes to the place that we need to be. But we're also going to find ourselves mourning and honoring everything that we've been through, the trials, the tribulations, the hurts, the pains, the disappointments. And that's going to be really important. A sense of, I honor my journey. I honor that I'm not the same person that I was, a year ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. And that's okay, because I get to stand in the power of who I am. And maybe we don't feel like it's okay. Maybe it's been a hard and long road, but what we have to honor is where we stand and how we are transforming and how we are embracing, and the fact that we're walking between the spirit world and the earthly plane. There's so much knowledge that is coming our way, that is leading us forward, and that is bringing us tremendous insight. And it brings us to the Nine of Coins. The Nine of Coins is the Minor Arcana wish card. It is the sense of, actually, it's the Minor Arcana prosperity card. So here, there is a sense, I do see a wish coming forward. I do see prosperity coming into our lives quite tremendously. But it's a sense of, I get to honor all the hard work and all the time and the effort that I've put into things. And as I honor this, I honor me. And as I see this, I see me. And there's a sense of, I get to say job well done. And there's something that's making us feel like if I say job well done, the next shoe is going to drop. Not everything's going to move forward the way that I wanted to, the way that I needed to. And here it's like, no, it'll be okay. It will be okay. Honor the hard work, honor the time and the effort that we've put into things, because the Six of Swords is saying we're gathering up our knowledge and we're moving forward. We're embracing our emotions, we're embracing what we need, we're embracing what we want, and we're also starting to see how we move forward to the next chapter. And that's going to be very big for us. We're looking at the next year, 2022, a time of new beginnings. We're looking at where we want to be in our lives. We're looking at what we desire for ourselves. And we're seeing ourselves move forward towards something more than we expected. And as we're doing this, we're looking at the Three of Cups. Now, for me, the Three of Cups is a bit complicated. So yes, it's about the celebration of those who love us and who can raise their glasses to us. But it is also the people whose words are negative within our own heads, who couldn't raise their glass to us, who couldn't celebrate us, who couldn't be there for us. And what we have with the Three of Cups is we have kind of like a bittersweet understanding. So when it comes to the people who couldn't celebrate us, there's a part of us that has their words tumble through our heads. There's a part of us that, feels overwhelmed that we couldn't live up to somebody else's expectations. Because this could be a parent, this could be a caregiver, this could have been a teacher or a best friend or a lover or whomever, a sibling. They were supposed to be on our side. They were supposed to connect, and they couldn't. And so, especially if this happened when we were younger, but even if it happened when we were older, it's like, what did I do wrong? How did I misstep? And sometimes it's not us. A lot of times it's not necessarily us that caused the discard. It was how it was meant to happen, how things were meant to unfold within our lives, which sounds cheesy to say, because if we had something really traumatic happen to us, it's like, well, why did that get to happen? And it was just supposed to happen. Sure, fine. That's not really an explanation. But what Spirit is saying here is that those words of anger, those words of hate, those words of ripping our souls down, they don't get to be the words that keep on tumbling through our head. We have to focus on the joy of the connection. We have to focus on the joy of the connection with people who have stood by our side, who love us, who care for us. And if we're saying, I don't have that, then it's connecting with our angels and our spirit guides. Or if the abstraction is a bit hard for us, it's looking at nature and saying, I'm connecting with the earth, I'm connecting with the trees, I'm connecting with, the ground that feeds me, and the water that quenches my thirst, and the air that purifies, the trees that purify the air, and the water that purifies the air and holds a whole kingdom in it that I can't see. And so we start to honor our path. And again, it hits us in the heart, because what people don't understand about us, Taurus, is that we're astoundingly sensitive. Yes, we can be bullish and, stubborn and determined and highly successful and highly focused. But when we love, when we connect, when we say, I'm going to be on your side, we mean it. And when people don't give us the loyalty that we will give them, it's hurtful. It's almost hateful. And so here we need to honor the hurt and the pain that we have been through. We need to look at people and say, I've seen people unmasked. I've seen who they truly are when they would rather have been somebody else. And now I look at that pain and I know that I have been carrying it for quite some time. This is, the Six of Cups is us connecting with our childhood. This is a sense of the hurt and the pain of the past coming forward. And it's wanting to recreate. Now, it's wanting to recreate the good moments. It's wanting to recreate the fact that we could have been loved and cherished and absolutely adored, and those times are over, so they can't ever be fully created. That's why part of the death card is so bittersweet. It's kind of like, I honor the memories of the people who've loved me, but I also know that for some of us, and for a lot of us, those people aren't there anymore. And so that has transformed me, that sense of loss, that sense of love, that sense of connection in a different way. And so here, when we have the Six of Cups coming forward, it's also saying to us, we can never recreate the past. We can never recreate the good moments, and we shouldn't recreate the bad moments within our minds, within ourselves. The sense of, oh no, they had to be, mean or say those things because they were making me tougher. They were helping me to really understand what I needed to see. No, they didn't have to say it like that. They didn't have to be cruel. And so here, when we have nasty words that tumble through our head from our parents, from our guardians, from our teachers, from our lovers, it's saying, why? Why do you get to haunt me in the most hurtful, hateful ways? I release. And as I release, we're going to start to see that we are reborn. The Ten of Swords is the darkness before the dawn. It is a sense of looking at all the pain that we have been through, all the hurt that we have been through, and saying, I'm done, no more. I'm taking all the swords out of my back. I now have an arsenal for my army. I now am defended up to the nines because I can stand in the power of me. Because I know what it's like to be kicked in the teeth. I know what it's like to have the rose-colored glasses pulled off my face and just be shocked by the cruelty of the world around me. And now I fiercely stand in the knowledge, in the coming full circle of what I need to understand, of where I need to be. And it brings us to the Five of Cups. We change our minds and we change our whole entire life in the public arena. I mean, seriously, we start to look at things so differently. And this becomes the game changer here. And as the game changes, we look at the Ten of Swords again, and we look at the way that we move forward. Now successful, now powerful, now determined, now focused, now insightful. We take, again, those wounds, and we take those swords, and we arm ourselves. And we are tremendously, powerful. We are so much more than we ever expected. And it's a harder road. It's not as smooth sailing. It's not as, as kind of fluffy as this moon can bring. It can bring a lot of fluff. This, it brings the real. It really does. It brings things real. Brings things intense, and it becomes that game changer. So let's see what the moon has to say for herself. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly, angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. So at our root, it says the energy is gaining momentum. Trust. Trust as the energy gains momentum, and trust that the energy is gaining momentum, that there's not just simply a stagnation here to pull us down, to keep us silent. It brings us then to our inner self. And it says communication is key to success, change. And it's that Gemini energy coming through. Again, everything here is amplified. All the planetary alignments, the energy of the full moon in Gemini is amplified. Now we have the new moon in Gemini coming in. It says communication is key. It starts to change. It starts to change everything. It changes the way we see ourselves. It changes the way that we're moving forward. It says here with the full moon eclipse, conclusions are within reach. Resistance. Conclusions are within reach. And here we have the resistance to what has tried to break us, what has tried to push us down, especially within our hearts. People didn't expect us to be this strong. Heck, we didn't expect us to be this strong. And yet we are. And it brings us to our lunar public arena self. And it says, work through your fear. Acceptance. It's working through our fear. And also accepting the road that we have had to walk. Accepting the harshness of the world, the cruelty of existence. And it's realizing that fear doesn't get to be the defining factor anymore. It just doesn't. Especially within the public arena, especially within what we want. Like, we can find people who are trying to manipulate us through fear. And it's like, no way. Absolutely not. And we're going to see them so much more clearly than we have before. And we were going to also think, wow, that would have worked on me once, but not anymore. Our subconscious Luna message is adjustments are required. Beauty. To call the beauty forward in our lives. Adjustments are required to embrace the beauty of our existence. It brings us to our subconscious energy to be mindful of. It's the Hermit. Be mindful of turning too far inward. Be mindful of not connecting with the outside world, not being social, not opening up the doors to what we love and what we want, and, calling forward more. We can have a tendency during this time, because we're going to feel everything so intensely, to be like, no, no, I'm done. And Spirit's saying here, really be mindful of that, because we're not done. We're just starting. Our subconscious chakra energy is self-mastery. This is the solar plexus chakra. We are mastering ourselves. We are mastering our energy, what we desire, what we want, what we need, and we're seeing ourselves shine. We're really seeing ourselves shine in a whole new way. It brings us to our subconscious rooted energy. And it's the star Aquarius energy. It is the sense of wishes coming forward. It is the sense, and it really is wishes coming forward. Subconsciously, we're going to see things starting to align in a way that kind of takes our breath away, in a way that we hadn't imagined. And as we're moving forward, it's like, I'm becoming more and more me. I'm also becoming more and more, comfortable in myself, in what I want, in what I need. It brings us to our subconscious inner self. And that is the Ace of Wands, passion and fire and new beginnings coming forward. This is the reason we get out of bed in the morning. This is the fire that ignites us, that has us moving forward. Our subconscious emotional self is the Three of Wands, new beginnings. And it's like, there's so much more here than I ever realized there could be. And I undersold myself. I kind of gave up on myself. And now I'm standing before, this new horizon. I'm standing before this bounty coming forward. And I'm realizing that, it's greater than I thought it could be. But we have to give ourselves that chance. We have to call forward our success and really think in that successful mindset. Think in that mindset of, I am worthy. I am worthy of bounty and abundance and prosperity. And mean it. Because as we do this, we start to hold ourselves differently, and we start to exude a higher energy vibration. It moves us to our subconscious public arena self, and that is the Six of Wands. The Seven of Wands. The Seven of Wands is subconsciously we're going to be ready for a fight. Subconsciously, we're going to be ready to have to defend ourselves, to have to put up with the same old nonsense. And Spirit's saying, why, on one hand, are we blessing ourselves and then taking it away? And then saying it's just going to be another fight like every other day. And what Spirit is saying here is stop. Stop tearing ourselves down. Fight when it is necessary. Fight when it is needed. But don't spend every moment in that fight or flight response. It's exhausting. It's energy draining. And it doesn't leave us the energy that we need. So when we really need to stand up for what's right or what we need and who we are, we're going to find ourselves more depleted than we had realized. All right, Taurus. I hope this reading has resonated with you. I wish you nothing but light, love, peace, and happiness. May harmony always be with you. I'm sending loving, healing energy to each and every one of you. I love you all, and stay safe. I know that was a lot of information coming forward. Let's end this reading with a meditation, a clearing away of negative energy, a raising of our positive energy as we embrace the power and the intensity of this time. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. May you move forward in peace and in harmony, Taurus, and may you have a blessed moon.